Fox Sports San Diego.
Oh, that's right. It is I Love You Man Friday. I love having one of my former teammates join us right now. He was at the Vikings-Rams game last night up in Los Angeles, and he's in the L.A. airport right now on his way to cover the UCLA Bruins, taking on the Colorado Buffalo. That game is going to be at 6 o'clock tonight on Fox Sports 1, and it's Ben Lieber on I Love You Man Friday, longtime NFL linebacker. Buddy, what is up?
Oh, Nick, it's an I Love You Man Friday every day for me, man. It's good to hear from you.
That's what I'm talking about. Ben, so I love you first off.
I'm doing good. You know, it's a little early morning here in LAX, but I'm doing good considering the fact that it was a shootout win for the Rams, which I was hoping the Vikings weren't going to get into a shootout situation, but nevertheless they did, and they lost. So a tough one last night for the Vikes.
Ben, great game last night, man. 38-31, Rams over Vikings. I know you're on the Vikings radio broadcast, so maybe on your end of things it wasn't great, but broad NFL fan, that thing was about everything you could ask for. Watch it with a critical eye on the Vikings side of things. What could they have cleaned up?
Oh, man. Everything defensively. Listen, it's been an absolute disaster for them defensively this whole season. This was the number one defense in the league last year, and you lose one guy, you add Sheldon Richardson, so in a sense, you got better. And all of a sudden now they have issues in the back end with just mental errors, alignment mistakes, things that just have to get at Mike Zimmer because, keep in mind, he's known as one of the best teachers in the NFL. So here's a guy that prides himself on letting his players know what the X's and O's are, what the tendencies are, giving them the test before the test. And, so far this season, it's been failure after failure of guys just getting lined up and guys just not doing normal coverage responsibilities. I'll get that Sean McVay was very creative last night, but in previous 3 games, there was nothing special going on. Nothing crazy exotic with different route concepts, and guys just are busting and leaving guys wide open. So a myriad of problems in the back seven.
So when I'm watching that game last night, immediately my attention goes to Sean McVay, and I've played Mike Zimmer's defenses before, and I thought they were very fundamentally sound and schematically on point, and there were times where they certainly got us in that cat and mouse game. But watching last night, it looked like Sean McVay schematically had the upper hand. He was finding ways to get wide receivers on linebackers, creating real mismatches. Do you think it was just schematically Sean McVay beat Mike Zimmer last night, or do you think there was more breakdowns?
You're right, man. I mean, you've got a good eye for what's going on. I mean, Anthony Barr should not be consistently lined up against their slot receivers. And then not only that, but carry him through the zone. I thought that was the disappointing part of the game too. Is I know Sean McVay is known as a genius, one of these beautiful mind type of football guys, but he was doing what I thought was just simple stuff. I couldn't believe that the Vikings didn't adjust to just the basic personnel deals that got him in a lot of those situations.
Yeah, Ben, having Cooper Kupp on my fantasy team, watching him line up with Anthony Barr certainly helped out.
Oh, stop it, Judson. Just stop it.
But you're right. I mean, they found mismatches. They seem like simple ones that you would never end up in, that the Rams were in. How impressed were you as a former linebacker watching Todd Gurley?
Oh, he's a load to bring down. I didn't see on tape so much of the patience, and I know that he's a patient runner too, but he's capable of so much speed and explosion, but I was amazed on a lot of the stretches on the outside stretch plays that he would just sort of patter his feet, and the line would get some push, and before you even really hit the accelerator, he's already at 2 or 3 yards down the field, and then he'd just kind of make a quick little cutback, and he'd fall ahead for 9 yards. I'm like, man, we were terrible at one point. I think there were 7 first downs in which they handed the ball off just to Todd Gurley on basically the same play, and he had 45 yards on those 7 touches on first down. I'm like, okay, you've got a really talented offense here that has got a lot of weapons, and Jared Goff is fastly becoming a star in this league, and you're giving up 7 yards on first down. Like, you can't do that. So there's a lot of problems, a lot of areas.
So, Ben, in the NFL, the rules are changing to really hamstring the defense, and I think the NFL really wants these big passing attacks, and they want a lot of throwing touchdowns. Are we just done playing football? Are we done playing defense in the NFL?
Oh man, it looks like it. It looks like it. I will say that I will give the refs some credit last night. You know, I think going back to the special session that was called last week, and they came out and said, we're not going to change anything. We're fine with your interpretations and all that stuff. I do think that it's just like in the preseason with the helmet rule. I think they're going to call less and less of these hits on the quarterback. They clearly are getting the point across of, like, we're going to make this an issue early on. I know it's going to piss off a lot of people, but we need to send the message and send it in a harsh way. And I think they've done that. And you look at the game last night, Stephon Diggs had his helmet taken off on one particular play. There are a couple other really hard hits where I think, if you slow it down and look at the letter of the law, there could have been some major violent fouls out there. But they're letting the guys play. And I think that was, the first game since the new, interpretation of the rules decision came out. And I think, hey, they are getting the message that we're going to let these guys play a little bit. Just because things look violent doesn't mean that there's always a foul or an infraction. So I thought the officials did a good job handling a physical game.
Well, Ben, thank you so much for your time today. Safe travels getting out to Colorado. Call a great game and enjoy the little miniature bye week that you got on Sunday with the Vikings off.
The baby bye. I like it. I know. Get home tomorrow around noon. I got all day Saturday and Sunday to hang out with family.
Well, perfect. Enjoy it, Ben. We'll be following along, bud.
All right. Thanks a lot. Good talking, guys.
Coming up.
I don't know what the hell's going on at the end of this time here. Like, this is the end of the window. There's no doubt about it. They've got nothing up top. They've got no speed. They've got no threats. They are vulnerable. And Tom Brady's apathy is a huge part of that.
You're watching Extra 1360, Fox Sports San Diego.
Okay, you ready for this?
I am ready. Stay ready.
I've really struggled to describe what's in the rundown and saying it out loud.
Okay.
The Patriots are more vulnerable.
There it is.
Than they've ever been before.
Good job.
Since the Brady-Belichick era has become upon us. All right, 3 reasons.
Ever. Give me your 3.
Okay, well, here was the first one. Rob Gronkowski, after the game, after the loss to the Lions, asked about the trade. Here's what Gronk said.
Yeah, it happened. And Brady's my quarterback. That's all. Wasn't going anywhere without Brady.
Couple interesting things about that.
So it said he killed a trade to the Lions in the offseason.
Yeah, he said he wouldn't go.
Yeah, it happened. Would you blame him? Would you blame him?
Well, he just lost to the Lions, so maybe he'd be in a better place.
Come on now. He could go WWE, he could go to the movies, he could be the next John Cena or The Rock, or he could go back to New England and he could be Rob Gronkowski, or you could go to Detroit and accept a trade there, and that's the end of your time. You're going now to football purgatory. Hope you like football, Rob. I mean, you've got to kill that trade. But I agree with you that this is a thing. Like,
well, there's a layer to this, though.
Who are they going to throw the ball to?
Well, who was trying to trade him? Who's the general manager of the Patriots?
Of course. But who are they going to throw the ball to if they got rid of Gronk? What was the plan? They don't have Gronk right now. Who are they pass the ball to? They don't have anybody.
They don't.
They don't have anybody.
But isn't this one of the issues when your head coach is your general manager?
I'm sure
bit of the reason why you'd like to separate the two?
I'm sure Belichick's got a vision going on. I'm sure he does. It's so hard to be critical of the Patriots. Dude, with Belichick and running the show as the general manager, they've won 5 Super Bowls. They've played in 8 Super Bowls in 18 seasons. It's hard to look at Bill and go, I don't think Bill should be running the show. I think Bill should be running the show. I don't know what the hell's going on at the end of this time here. Like, this is the end of the window. There's no doubt about it.
You agree this looks different than it ever has before?
Well, just the look and the feel in the offseason. And here's why I think they're more vulnerable. the way they lost in the Super Bowl, bouncing back from that. I've talked to Rob Ninkovich, one of the Patriots. He's like, I think he's lost in 2 of the Super Bowls that he played in against the Giants. And he's like, they are the most devastating things that would ever happen in your entire life. He's like, I would much rather not make the playoffs than play in the Super Bowl and lose it. That's how bad it hurts. So you lose multiple Super Bowls now, and you lose this one, devastating, to a backup quarterback in Nick Foles. And now you've got to get back on the horse, recommit to a coach who didn't even commit to putting Malcolm Butler in the game and giving them the best opportunity. I think the recommitment after losing the way they did and after the stunt that Belichick pulled in the Super Bowl, I think that's the hard part, and that's why I think they're so vulnerable. They have no weapons. They have no threats. What did Cameron tell us about Josh Allen? It's like, I know he's young, but you got to let him extend the field. So the Patriots are just so limited to underneath routes. They've got nothing up top. They've got no speed. They've got no threats. They are vulnerable. And Tom Brady's apathy is a huge part of that.
That's number one. Why? Because everyone else falls in line with Tom Brady if he's willing to accept what Bill Belichick is doing. One of the reasons, because Gronk didn't have to answer that question. Gronk isn't as dumb as he sounds. He really is not. And I've heard him not answer questions.
You don't have success in life like Gronk has and be dumb.
Right.
You don't dumb your way to success.
When Gronk acknowledges a trade like that, it's because of frustration. And I think that the frustration, why he will say it publicly, is because Tom Brady, he feels it from him as well.
And how about that?
Brady is no longer falling in line, and you can see it with everybody else.
Coming up,
he's on pace right now for 4,800 passing yards. 4,800. His best was in 2010. He had 4,710. He's on pace for 42 touchdowns this year.
you're watching Extra 1360, Fox Sports San Diego.
Phillip Rivers playing some good ball. I think a big part of it is that he's just controlling what he can control, and he's being very methodical. And we asked him on Tuesday about LeBron James and the pressure and the whole deal. His commentary coming out of that, I thought was just spectacular. I've been kind of spreading the word about Phillip Rivers and where his thought process is, because I think that was the last missing piece for Phil. As far as methodical and understanding how to pick apart defenses and how they were trying to attack, and having a book on all the defensive coordinators across the league and understanding how to set guys up and take advantage and being kind of fully armed on offense the way they are. I thought the last piece was that, like Eric Williams described it, seeing red of, I'm just going to take a shot and I got to put this team on my back. And he said, it took me longer to get that, to understand that. I think that's the final piece of maturation for Phillip Rivers. But Bud, these numbers for Phillip through 3 games now, I got to mind you, through 3 games, they're telling. He's having his best year. In all the categories you would want a quarterback to have his best year, he is having it right here.
And by the way, I know that you say it's only through 3 games. If you look at the 2 offenses that they've lost to, I think it will be very easy for a quarterback, and I like the way Eric said it's going red.
Seeing red.
Would there ever be a better time to see red when trying to keep up with the Chiefs and the Rams?
But you can't.
Because when Phillip sees red, it doesn't necessarily work.
Here's Phillip Rivers' numbers. These are crazy. I'm not talking across the board. So this one is the first one that would be indicative. This is his highest by far, his rating. His quarterback rating, I'm not talking the QBR, I'm talking his rating, 115.7 through 3. His highest to date was in 2008, and that was a 105.5. So he's got 10 additional points on that one. His completion percentage, right where his highest was in 2013 under Ken Wisenhunt. He was 69.5 in 2013. 69.4 right now. So that category he's second in compared to where he was. One other category that he's second in, based on where he's projected to be down the line. So those two are current. Those are the current ones that you could have. And then I've projected out based on 16 games if he stays on pace with where he's at. If he stays on pace with where they're at, they've got 4 sacks given up through 3 games. Last year was his lowest in his career at 18. They're getting rid of the ball quicker, using a lot more 5-step drop. 21 sacks they're on pace for this season. 21. Last year was 18. It was his career best. But they've also played Aaron Donald. They played the Rams. They only gave up 1 sack there. So they're on pace to do really good things. This 69.4, second best. That and the sacks are there. But here's where we're at. He's on pace right now for 4,800 passing yards. 4,800. His best was in 2010. He had 4,710. He's on pace for 42 touchdowns this year. 42. He's thrown 8 through 3 games. They threw 34 in 2008, and he's on pace for 5 interceptions. 5 interceptions. Now, that would be absolutely remarkable. He's thrown 9 twice. That was 2006 and 2009. His numbers all tell you he is having a career year this year, and to me, it comes back to the mentality. He's always had the ability. He's always known how defenses are going to attack him. I think he's the smartest guy in football, but he had to have that maturation process to just stay within the program and control what he can control.
You know, and in some way, the interceptions may be more important than any amount of touchdowns he's thrown. But if you look at the importance of the plus and minus in NFL games, you know, if you're -1, I think a lot of times you're losing about 60% of the time. If you're -2, you're losing close to 80% of the time. You're done.
It's all about the turnover ratio.
It's all about it.
Coming up.
LeBron's nervous.
You think so?
I think LeBron is now in game mode, and game mode has made him on edge because he's taken on this new challenge, and he doesn't know exactly what it's going to look like.
You're watching Extra 1360, Fox Sports San Diego.
Have you ever been to a
Fargo, I've been to the Fargo Dome.
You ever been to a grumpy LeBron James media session?
Jeez.
All right, here were the 2 sound bites over the last couple of days.
Belichick?
Got me thinking about LeBron. We'll tell you if he's expected to play or not. This was the one. Not a great question. I don't know if LeBron handled it great either.
Expect to earn their respect and earn their loyalty.
Who, me?
The fan base, yes.
Me?
Yes, you.
Huh?
What do you say to the fans that say they want to see you and earn their respect?
I'll sign a 4-year deal. How much more? What do you want me to do?
Yeah. That's fine. I mean, we talked to them outside of here yesterday.
Listen, I signed a 4-year deal. I'm here, so. I mean, I know what I bring to the table on the floor.
All right, what was worse, the question or the answer?
What else you need?
Yeah.
Like, what else you need? It's like, it's funny. Then it kind of reminded me of that. It's like, it's funny.
Then there was this one where he was asked about, he's been donning number 6 at practice. He was asked about, why is he wearing number 6?
What?
I know, big news, big news.
Man.
Speaking of numbers, you're wearing number 6. Is there a particular reason why you're wearing that?
I've worn 6 in practice for a long time. I'm trying to figure out a lot of you guys just not recognizing who I am, huh? I have no idea. I've been doing this for about the last 8 years now.
Get off your high horse.
Yeah, LeBron.
Jesus.
Okay, so you know my theory on this?
Yeah,
and
come
we'll
on.
tell you if he's expected to play or not in San Diego Sunday night.
Christmas.
A game you can hear right here on Extra 1360. LeBron, we have to keep in mind about LeBron. LeBron loves to be liked. Like I do put him in a rather insecure place as far as athletes go. Now, I think he's come out of it somewhat. If you recall, the backlash of the decision, LeBron James for a number of years was the bad guy.
Ooh.
And he tried to play that role a little bit.
Didn't really work.
It did not
It's
work
not
for
fun.
LeBron. So here's my theory.
Nobody wants to be the bad boy. Doesn't last very long.
LeBron's nervous.
You think so?
I think LeBron is now in game mode, and game mode has made him on edge because he's taken on this new challenge, and he doesn't know exactly what it's going to look like.
I think he's got a lot going on.
I think he does too.
I think it just, even outside of basketball, I would agree with you that basketball LeBron's different than off-season LeBron,
Yes.
but he's also got a lot of projects that he's working on, and he may not have enough free time for himself. Like, I get really grumpy if I don't have any free time. I schedule in alone time for myself. He's probably getting used to driving around in LA traffic, getting shuttled around, bouncing back and forth between production meetings that he's working on, all of his little side projects, other business meetings that he has to take because you've got a lot of operations. You've got a school going on. He just needs more free time. LeBron, chill out.
You know, this is going to shock you coming from me, but LeBron isn't that different than the rest of us. He's a human being.
Oh.
And LeBron has made a big decision, and now that decision has gotten real. And the anxiety and the anxiousness, especially when he's at practice and he's going, all right, I've got to make this work now. And I think that LeBron is feeling all of that pressure, and he is projecting it onto the media, who isn't necessarily asking the best questions.
God, I've been wearing number 6 for years in practice. Why don't you know? It's like, can he just play along with the question? It's like,
I've heard this. He's setting expectations for the Lakers media.
oh my God. Well, the girl that asked the question about how are you going to earn Lakers fan respect is like, who, me? It's like, can't you just be like, well, I plan to come and work hard just like I have the rest of my career. Very easy. He didn't have to put her on blast and be like, well, that's the stupidest question I ever heard. He's going to get a lot of stupid questions.
No doubt.
I'm sure he's gotten a lot of stupid questions over his career.
I did feel like her question wasn't very good, but I did appreciate her standing up to it.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't wilt when he was like, what?
Just play along.
Mike Trudell reporting. Bill Walton says, no, not Bill. Luke. This would be a different report if it came from Bill.
There's not enough letters on Twitter for Bill.
Luke Walton says that LeBron James will play in Sunday's preseason opener right here in San Diego, likely limited minutes.
Nice.
How limited? We don't know. You can hear that game right here on Extra 1360.
You get 2 of his best minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Have fun
Make
out
it
there.
count.
Have fun out there.
Have those cameras out early.
There's no way they let him go out there and sprain his ankle.
No.
Absolutely not. Like he did last year.
Please no. Please no.
He did last year in the preseason. Sprained his
that's
ankle.
right.
Yeah, leading up into the regular season. So they're going to keep that limit.
Well, remember when the Warriors were there, the floor was wet and they just canceled the game third quarter. They're like, we're done.
Totally dig that.
See ya.
God, I dig that.
Well, that is officially a wrap for us. I'll do it on Extra 1360, Fox Sports San Diego.
It's all done as the Padres wrap up their 2018 season, taking on the Diamondbacks. Padres Live. Get you set next.
Thanks for watching Extra 1360, Fox Sports San Diego.